All right, guys, good morning. I just wanted to kind of explain, since I know we have some new students, um, Unit 2, Week 6. Oh, I'm sorry, I think we're on Unit 3, Week 6. Whenever you guys see a Week 6, what that means is that we're going to be taking assessments based off of the unit that we have been working on. So if you just came from another school, you probably were around the same place that we were. So hopefully these things will make sense. If not, we'll do a little bit of review for you. Just let me know. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reviewing your comprehension skills and strategies you've been learning in Unit 3. We're going to start with reading the story Up with Kites. We're going to look at the questions together and answer them. And then we're going to be reviewing for your grammar test as well. We're going to be creating a grammar quiz in Kahoot that you guys can practice today and tomorrow. And then you'll take that grammar test on Wednesday. And then you guys are going to take a comprehension test tomorrow. We're also going to be working on opinion writing this week with a test coming up on Wednesday. And then we don't have the 5 things for those of you who have been in class. All we have for this week is selfie writing, which we're actually going to get. Oh no, will we start with that? No, we're going to end with selfie writing and see if we have time. All right, so the first thing that you guys are going to need to do is your guys are going to need to go to our Google Classroom. Our Google Classroom is going to be Miss Park's second grade. It's going to have little Simba jumping on a little bug. So that's what you guys are going to start off with, okay? Once you get here, you're going to notice that there is an assignment that I posted right at the top of your screen. And while we're on Google Classroom, I do want to explain, we do have a fun science day coming up for you guys. So we are going to be getting started February 1st, so in a week. Now, you will need to pick up your science kits. You only need to come to one of those days. So you could either come today from 8 to 10. You don't need to go. You just have to have like a parent or someone go pick it up for you. We're also going to be doing it tomorrow from 12 to 1. And then we're also going to be doing it on January 26th from 2 to 3. Okay, so go pick up your science kits. Whenever one of you guys picks it up, maybe you can show it to us on Zoom. And don't forget, don't play with anything, don't use anything, because if you start using stuff that's in the kits, when it comes to our science class, you guys might not be able to do the experiments with us. So make sure that you guys keep everything in the bag and don't lose anything, don't use anything. Okay, you have to wait for the teacher, your mad scientist teacher, to tell you what to use. Okay. While we're here, I just want to remind you guys that this one usually is at the top, but because we have other assignments up, that's why it's not. It's the 3rd one right now. Our weekly schedule is going to be posted here. To get into our Zoom meeting, you'll click on this link. And then if there are any missing assignments, your names will be here. All right. And then
I picked up my science kit.
So I'm going to be showing you guys how we're going to take our comprehension review right now. You're going to start off in Google Classroom. You don't actually have to go to classwork because it's right here. So right here, it says Ashley Park posted a new assignment via Cami. You're going to click open with Cami. Go ahead and click open with Cami. All right, and then once everyone has that opened, we're gonna actually start with reading the questions. And then we're gonna be using that knowledge to help us find the answers for your quiz. All right, there we go. So if you want to use classwork, you can use classwork as well. You're gonna scroll down to ELA. And it's going to be on the very top of ELA. So Aaron, you can scroll down to ELA, or you can go to stream. I recommend going to stream. I think it's going to be easier. But if you want, you can also go to ELA. All right, so Christian, I need you on Google Classroom, my love. Very good. Ava is there. Angelica is there. Danica is there. Dimitri is there. Okay, Jason, you got to go to Up with Kites. So go back to Google Classroom. Eknor, you need to go to Google Classroom. Good job. Kayla is there. Maylee, you got to get to ELA. Go to ELA. And then it's that first one right here. Open with Cami. Perfect. If you guys need more time or have any questions, let me know. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open it with Cami as well. I'm going to open it a different way. All right, so let's go ahead and read our story. Okay, so the story we're reading today is Up with Kites. Tomorrow, you're going to be reading, I believe, the story of Popcorn. It's going to be a similar style of story with similar questions. Okay, so we're going to review your comprehension skills and strategies for this week. I'm going to start off on page 4, or if you're looking at the page numbers, it's page 80. When I say page 4, I mean down here. There's like a page number on this side, or you can just go to page 80. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading the questions, and then I'm going to be underlining certain parts of it so that I can remember what I am looking for as I read. Okay, so I'm going to use my drawing tool. So everyone click on drawing. I'm going to go to number 1. I want my thickness of 1. And then I'm just going to choose any color I want. You can choose pink, red, yellow. I'm going to choose black. Which 2 sentences from the passage best support or back up the idea that kites could send messages? So the first thing it's saying is 2. So we're going to have to choose 2 sentences. So let's go ahead and underline that first. Okay. Next, we need to know what idea that kites could send messages. How do we know that kites can send messages? So question number 1, when I'm reading, I'm going to try to figure out, how do I know that kites can send messages? And I need to choose 2 choices. Now, if I am going too fast for you, I am recording this lesson, so you guys can always go back and watch this recording and pause the video whenever you need more time. All right, question number 2. The following question has 2 parts. First answer part A, then answer part B. Read the paragraph from the passage. Around 1900, investors wanted to build a flying machine. They studied kites. Alexander Graham Bell made huge kites. These kites could carry a person. The Wright brothers built and flew kites too. They studied the way birds fly. They studied the wind. Over and over, they tried to ride on kites. Then in 1903, the Wright brothers flew the first airplane. Kites helped make airplanes possible. What is the main idea of the paragraph? Okay, so this one is all about the main idea for the paragraph. So we'll reread that again later, and we're looking for the main idea. What was the purpose of writing that paragraph? Okay. Question number 2 has another part. Which sentence from the paragraph best helps you answer part A? So we're looking for the sentence from the paragraph that best helps. Let's just underline that. A sentence from the paragraph that best helps us understand what the main idea is. We're going to move on to question number 3. What do you learn about kites from the picture and the caption? Use your own words and include details from the passage in your answer. So one more time. What do you learn about kites from the picture? So we're going to learn about kites from the picture and the caption. And then we are going to be using our own words. So we are going to need to look at that photo. Question number 4, pick 2 reasons. Ooh, here's another one where we need to pick 2 that best tell why the author includes information about Ben Franklin. So why is there information about Ben Franklin? What things did we learn about Ben Franklin, and why is it important to the story Up with Kites? Don't worry, we're gonna go back to these. So if you weren't able to underline, we'll come back to it after we read. Okay, number 5, read the sentence from the passage. Flying a kite in a storm is unsafe. What does the word unsafe mean? Unsafe mean. Number 6, read the sentence from the passage. Alexander Graham Bell made huge kites. Which 2 words have the opposite meaning of huge? And I'm also going to highlight 2 words because even if you choose one that's correct, you aren't going to get full credit if you don't pick 2. And then I believe this is our last question. Read the sentence from the passage. They attached fishing lines to the kite, which 2 words, so again, we're going to pick 2, that have almost the same meaning as attached. All right, guys, if you didn't get to underline all of it, we are going to be looking at those questions again. The first thing that we are going to be doing is we're going to now read the story. But before we read the story we're going to reread all the things we underlined so we can look for those things as we read. Okay, so 2 words, almost the same, attached. 2 words, opposite meaning of huge. Unsafe mean. 2 reasons, information about Ben Franklin. Learn about kites from the picture and the caption. Sentence from the paragraph best helps. Main idea of the paragraph. 2 sentence idea that kites could send messages. All right, let's go ahead and read. Up with kites. It is fun to fly a kite on a windy day, but kites are not just toys. People have used kites in many ways. Kites were first used more than 2,000 years ago. The first kites were made in China. They were used to send messages. A kite's color and movements were like words. Soldiers used kites to talk to friends who were far away. Children in China began to fly kites too. Very old pictures show children flying kites. From China, kites came to other parts of the world. About 700 years ago, an explorer went to China from Europe. His name was Marco Polo. He brought many things back to Europe. He also brought tales of Chinese kites. Let's keep going. You may be surprised at the way kites have helped people. You know, some people flew kites to talk. Ooh, remember there was a story about how they used it to communicate? Others used kites to catch fish. They attached fishing lines to a kite. Then they flew the kite over water. Sending a kite over water helped people build bridges too. Building bridges was hard. Getting the first line across was the hardest part. With a kite, the job was much easier. Kite power was also used to pull wagons and boats. In 1999, kites even pulled sleds to the North Pole. Scientists use kites to learn about weather. Do you know about Ben Franklin and his kite? Okay, so why was Ben Franklin talked about? Long ago, Ben Franklin wanted to know if lightning was electricity. Ben learned by flying a kite. Ooh, okay, so he wanted to know if lightning was electricity. Go ahead and underline that sentence, because I think it might be important. He flew his kite in a storm. Flying a kite in a storm is unsafe, but Ben was lucky. He did not get hurt. Ooh. The US Weather Service also used kites. They sent up weather instruments in kites. They put cameras in kites too. Some kites are big and powerful. During World War I, men were lifted in large box kites. A man high in the sky would see very far. He could see what was happening far away. Kites were used again during World War II. Sometimes men lost at sea sent up kites to call for help. Around 1900, investors wanted to build a flying machine. They studied kites. Okay, so remember this was important too. I think this paragraph. So inventors wanted to build a flying machine. So what did they do? To build a flying machine, they studied kites. Alexander Graham Bell made huge kites. These kites could carry a person. The Wright brothers built and flew kites too. They studied the way birds fly. They studied the wind. Over and over, they tried to ride on kites. Then in 1903, the Wright brothers flew the first airplane. Kites helped make airplanes possible. Getting ready to fly your kite. Ask a friend to help fly your kite. Look for a safe place to fly your kite. Parks, beaches, and big fields are good. Stay away from traffic, trees, and power lines. Wait for the right day. You need a nice wind to fly a kite. When the wind is right, you will feel it on your face and you will see wet leaves blow. But if big branches are blowing, the wind is too strong. Flying your kite. Hold the ball of string, give the kite to your friend. Have your friend walk in the direction the wind is blowing. Keep holding the string tightly. When the wind catches the kite, pull on the string. Keep the line tight and watch your kite rise. Ooh, and then remember one of the things that it asked us about was the picture and the caption. So let's underline that caption. The rider uses a kite to pull the beach buggy. All right, let's look at question number 1 now. Question number 1 says, which 2 sentences from the passage best support or back up the idea that kites could send messages? They attached fishing lines to a kite. That was to fish, so I don't think it's A. They sent up weather instruments in kites. Well, that does tell us about the weather, but that's not really a message to like talk to each other. The Wright brothers built and flew kites too. Well, that was to learn how to make an airplane. So it's not going to be C. So it must be D and E because those are our only 2 options, but let's make sure. A kite's color and movements were like words. Ooh, words are like messages. So I think it's going to be D. And then let's look at E. Sometimes men lost at sea sent up kites to call for help. So if you're calling for help, that's sending another message. So I think the answer is D and E. If you're not sure, another strategy you can use is rereading. So I can look back here and see the first kites were made in China. They were used to send messages. A kite's color and movements were like words. So maybe like red meant, oh, there's a war coming. Or maybe blue meant, oh, people are here to come to a party. Or maybe purple meant that there is a dangerous animal on the loose. All right, let's move on to question number 2. The following question has 2 parts. First, answer A, then part B. Read the paragraph from the passage. So I'm going to reread this. Around 1900, inventors wanted to build a flying machine. They studied kites. So remember, we underlined that. So let's underline it again. So they wanted to build a flying machine. So how did they learn how to build one? They studied kites. Alexander Graham Bell made huge kites. These kites could carry a person. The Wright brothers built and flew kites too. They studied the way birds fly. They studied the wind. Over and over, they tried to ride on kites. Then in 1903, the Wright brothers flew the first airplane. Kites helped make airplanes possible. Ooh, I think that's going to be important. So this whole paragraph is all about people wanting to build a flying machine and how when they studied kites, they were able to build flying machines like the airplane. So what do you guys think is the best choice? What is the main idea of the paragraph? You can either type it in the chat or you can unmute. Long ago, people built huge kites. Alexander Graham Bell was interested in kites. Kites were used by those who invented the airplane, or the Wright brothers studied how birds flew through the sky. Which of those do you think is the main idea?
The white bird studied how birds fly.
The Wright brothers studied how birds flew through the sky. That is true. They did study that, but I don't think that's the main idea. I don't think it's the main.
Graham Bell was interested in kites.
So Alexander Graham Bell was interested in kites, but we want to know about flying machines. Which one is the only one that talks about airplanes? Which is the only one that tells us about airplanes? Because we want to know that kites helped make airplanes possible. They wanted to create a flying machine. They wanted to create an airplane. So which of those talks about an airplane?
Kites were used by those who invented the airplane.
Very good. Kites were used by those who invented the airplane. They wanted to build a flying machine. What do we call a flying machine? An airplane. So what did they study to learn how to build one? They studied kites. Very good. So C is our correct answer. So it's very important to look because all of the things that you gave us are all key details. They're still important, but they're not the main idea. The main idea about this paragraph was all about airplanes. They studied kites, they studied birds, they studied the wind because they're trying to learn how to fly an airplane. Now, which sentence from the paragraph best helps you answer part A? So which one tells us, so we know the main idea is kites were used by those who invented the airplane. So which of those tells us that? Around 1900, inventors wanted to build a flying machine. These kites could carry a person. They studied the wind. Kites helped make airplanes possible. Which one of those tells us how studying kites helped build airplanes? I'm gonna tell you a clue. You're looking for similar words with kites and airplanes. Which of those has both kites and airplanes?
Kites helped airplanes made airplanes.
Very good. Kites helped make airplanes possible. All right, guys, we only have 20 minutes left. So we might only have time for this and selfie writing. And then I'll assign you guys the grammar, but we'll have to go over the grammar tomorrow. Okay. Okay, number 3. What do you learn about kites from the picture and the caption? Use your own words and include details from the passage in your answer. What do you learn about kites from the picture and the caption? What do you learn about kites from the picture and the caption? So here's the picture. The writer uses a kite to pull the beach buggy. So how can we say that in our own words? I'm not going to copy that exact sentence. So how can you say that in your own words? Anybody can unmute. You're just going to rearrange the words and say them in your own way. So what is happening in this picture? Anybody, what is happening in this picture?
A kite carrying some cars.
It's a kite. It's a kite.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to the text because I want to be able to type it now. So instead of using the drawing, if you go up, there's a T and then it says text box. Click on that. You can change the font. I'm going to make my font a 24 so you guys can see it. A kite is pulling a car down the beach. I'll also put it in the chat for you guys as well. A kite is pulling a car down the beach. Now it is in the chat, so if you guys need more time to write it, it is in the chat. If you're on YouTube, you can also pause the video. All right, we're gonna move on to question number 4. If you need more time, you guys can look at it in the chat. Number 4, pick 2 reasons that best tell why the author includes information about Ben Franklin. Ooh, so I want to reread because I already forgot. Okay, scientists use kites to learn about weather. Do you know about Ben Franklin and his kite? Long ago, Ben Franklin wanted to know if lightning was electricity. Ben learned by flying a kite. He flew his kites in a storm. Flying a kite in a storm is unsafe, but Ben was lucky. He did not get hurt. The US Weather Service also used kites. They sent up weather instruments in kites. They put cameras in kites too. So, what are 2 reasons that best tell why the author includes information about Ben Franklin? To show that Ben Franklin liked to fly a kite? Well, it doesn't say anything about liking to fly a kite. Oops, I forgot to go back to drawing. So I'm going to go back to drawing and put an X. To show how Ben Franklin made his own kites? No, he didn't make his own kites. To show that Ben Franklin was a scientist who used a kite? Yeah, he used a kite to learn about what? About lightning. To show how Ben Franklin used kites to pull things? Well, he wasn't pulling things. He was actually putting what he did was he used a kite to understand electricity. To show how Ben Franklin used a kite to learn about lightning. Yes. So our 2 best answers are going to be C and E. If you're not sure, you can always reread and go back and check the text to see which answers make the most sense. Okay, we have 3 more questions. Number 5, read the sentence from the passage. Flying a kite in a storm is unsafe. What does unsafe mean? So you guys should know this one. Go ahead and unmute and let me know. What does unsafe mean? What does the prefix un mean?
Not safe.
Very good, not safe. Okay, number 6, read the sentence from the passage. Alexander Graham Bell made huge kites. Which 2 words have the opposite meaning of huge? So opposite is an antonym. So the opposite of black is white. The opposite of open is closed. The opposite of dark is light. The opposite of land is sea. So which 2 words have the opposite meaning of huge? What do you guys think? Colorful, great, little, strong, or tiny? Which is the opposite of huge?
Little and tiny.
Very good. Little. Very good. Awesome. Those were easy questions that all of you guys will have similar questions like this on tomorrow's test. Remember, tomorrow's test, I don't go over the story or the questions with you. You guys need to be able to read it on your own. Very important to practice your reading fluency. We're going over the skills and strategies you'll need for your test today by going over this one, but tomorrow's will be a whole brand new story. Okay, last question. Read the sentence from the passage. They attached fishing lines to the kite. Which 2 words have almost the same meaning as attached in the sentence? Draw a word around each correct word. So what has almost the same? So it's going to be a synonym for the word attached. So make it make sense, okay? Number 7, they joined fishing lines to the kite. They tossed fishing lines to the kite. They tied fishing lines to the kite. They pulled fishing lines to the kite. They dropped fishing lines to the kite. Which of those 2 make the most sense?
Pulled and dropped.
Nope, it's not pulled and not dropped. If you're attaching a fishing line, you're not pulling it or dropping it, you're attaching, you're putting it together. Which of those would mean putting it together? Joined and what else?
Tied.
Very good. So go ahead and circle joined and tied. Tossed would not work in that. To attach, if you're attaching something, you're joining it together. Like you might attach your seatbelt. You're joining the belt to the buckle. You might attach your, I don't know, what else would you attach? You might attach your dog, your pet's leash to their collar. You're joining it together. Sometimes you tie it together. All right, guys, that is going to be your review. What you guys are going to do now is you guys are going to turn this in so that I know you've done it. If you are not done, you can work on it later and then turn it in later. The way that you turn it in is you guys are going to see, if you're not ready to turn it in, no worries, but I'm just going to show you on Angelica's screen. There's going to be a turn in button right at the top of your screen. Whenever you're ready to turn it in, what you're going to do is you're going to click on that turn in button. It's going to ask, are you sure? And then you're going to click yes. And then that's how you turn in your assignment. Please make sure that you do turn it in. Please turn it in by today. If you need more time, you can watch this video on YouTube to get that done. All right. I know that some of you are still working on it. However, I'm going to move on. You guys can work on it later. I'll give you guys time later to do it. But I want to work on your selfie writing now. So I need everyone to go back to Google Classroom. I need everyone to go to classwork. I need everyone to scroll to ELA. And then here on August 30th, I posted selfie writing. Go ahead and click on selfie writing. And then open up your Google slide, please. All right, we are on the week of January 24th today. And then we're not going to have time for grammar, but what I'll do is I'll post that grammar quiz. And then maybe what we'll do is at the beginning of math time, as soon as 10:15 starts, we'll play a round of it. Okay, so you're going to scroll all the way down so you get to January 24th, which is this one with the snow globe. Now, this one is super fun. You're going to pretend like you're trapped in a snow globe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Insert Image. I'm going to click Camera. And then I'm going to click this button and I'm going to pretend like I'm stuck in a snow globe. Ready? Okay, I'm going to click Insert. And then I'm going to add that picture. Now I want my hand in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Mask Image. I'm going to choose the circle. Uh-oh. And I'm just going to have that much showing and I'm going to put myself at the bottom. I don't want that insert photo here actually, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm stuck in a snow globe. Now you're going to answer that story. If I were trapped in a snow globe. So remember, you only need to write 4 to 6 sentences. I'm going to make mine bigger as well. And I'm also going to indent because we are writing a paragraph. If I were trapped in a snow globe, oh, why is that not working? If I were trapped in a snow globe, comma, I would try to break out. Now, can anyone unmute and tell me what are some things you would do to try and break out? First, what would you do? If you were trapped and you wanted to break out like me, what would you do first? Give me some ideas, guys. What should I do to get out of my snow globe?
Try banging on the glass.
first,
Maybe
I-
punch out.
I would bang on the glass. Okay, what is next? What should I do next? I banged on the glass, it didn't work. What would I do?
You would smash through it.
Next, I would, okay, so I did get through then. So next I would smash through. And then what would I do? Okay, now there's glass and there's water all over the floor. What am I gonna do next?
Clean it up. You can punch it.
Finally, I would clean up the mess. In conclusion, I always like to write in conclusion, so I know that I'm done writing. That is what I would do if I were, and then you can end it with if I were trapped in a snow globe. Now, I wrote 5 sentences. Oops. If you want to say something else, yes, that's fine, Ava. Okay, now if you want to write something else, that's totally fine. If you want to say, if I were trapped in a snow globe, I would get a mini hammer and smash through with my mini hammer. Or you might say, if I were trapped in a snow globe, I wouldn't mind because it would be so much fun. I would drink hot cocoa and wear warm clothes. And I think it would be super fun to be in a snow globe. Or you can make it silly. Like if I were trapped in a snow globe, I would escape the snow globe and then trap my little brother. And then whenever he was being naughty, I would shake the snow globe so that he would go all crazy in there and he'd get snow and water all over him. So you can write whatever story that you guys want. Make sure it's 4 to 6 sentences, all right? Now, I know it's already 9:50, so this is what I'm gonna have you guys do. If you guys want to write your own story, you're more than welcome to do it. I know some of you guys aren't able to take a picture while you're in Zoom. So if you need to leave the meeting, you can. You're going to work on your selfie writing. And if you have not turned in your comprehension test review, you need to do that. At 10:15, we're going to come back for math, but we're going to start with our grammar quiz. All right, guys. All right, I will see you guys at 10:15.